A group of explorers arrived at a mysterious island next to Sumatra. Passing through a cave glowing with light, they reached a suspension bridge lined with human skeletons. Carl, while recording, exclaimed that this mysterious island must hold secrets that could shock the world. Suddenly, a child appeared ahead. Carl quickly took out a piece of chocolate and offered it to the child. However, the child, with a vacant stare, not only refused the chocolate but also bit Carl. Carl thought of disciplining the child but instantly backed off. Retreating, he saw the cave filled with the weak and sick. Just as he was relieved, a dart leaving him terrified. As heavy rain poured down, a group of tribesmen armed with weapons surrounded them. The tribesmen started their attack, pushing a team member's head into a trough and killing him with a club. Next, it was Carl's turn, and, watching helplessly from a distance, saw the team members attempt to resist but get knocked out. As a tribesman raised his club, the captain arrived with a gun, scaring the tribesmen, who ran away at the sight of the firearm. Back on the ship, they encountered a storm. To prevent sinking, the captain ordered everyone to throw overboard unnecessary items. After these actions, they were safe, but noticed something wrong. The tribesman maneuvered among the rocks and jumped onto the boat, and was then kidnapped by the tribesmen. The tribesman played tribal music as molten lava flowed down the walls, and was roughly tied to a suspension bridge with a bone necklace around her neck. The bridge was raised, but Anne's attempts to resist were futile. She was extended to a stone platform, still struggling to free her wrists. Suddenly, she saw a giant beast approaching, her face filled with terror. The beast grabbed Anne, breaking the ropes on her wrists. Her screams were heard by her companions outside the wall, who quickly looked for an exit to rescue her, but Anne had already been taken by the giant gorilla deep into the forest. Kong shook Anne in his palm, growling, in a daze. And saw skeletons around her, the bone necklace indicating they too died here after being sacrificed. Kong roared at Anne, who fiercely stabbed his finger with the bone necklace. Kong released her, and fell to the ground. She tried to run but was quickly caught. Kong didn't harm her but threw her to the ground, and played dead and tried to sneak away when Kong wasn't looking but was soon discovered. Kong approached, and kept retreating until she accidentally fell, startling Kong, and began performing acrobatics for Kong, who was amazed by her backflip, and performed all her skills. But Kong grew impatient and knocked away her walking stick, and fell and laughed, and Kong pushed her over again. Kong almost burst into laughter at Anne's disheveled appearance. When Kong tried to push Anne again, she struck back with a punch. No one had ever defied Kong on this island, and he became angry. He pounded the ground but didn't hurt Anne. Still unsatisfied, Kong started throwing stones, lifting one and throwing it skyward. Then, Kong calmed down and slowly left, and realized this giant creature didn't actually want to harm her. Anne's teammates, on a mission to rescue her, entered the forest on a raft. Unaware of the looming danger, Jack was intently watching the water when a monster clambered onto the raft. He quickly drove it away, but more creatures followed. Amidst the fierce battle with the monsters, they suddenly retreated, leaving the team bewildered. A massive shadow passed under the boat, and suddenly, a giant fish monster flipped the raft. It targeted Jack, who swam away hastily. Luckily, tree roots blocked the monster's attack, allowing Carl to shoot it with a machine gun and temporarily fend it off. Seizing the opportunity, the team hurried ashore. Tragically, a teammate was devoured by the fish monster, a moment Carl captured on his video camera. Pressing on, they crossed a wooden bridge and reached a cave entrance, intending to save Anne from Kong's clutches. Unbeknownst to them, Kong had already released Anne. The team fired into the cave, provoking Kong to emerge and grab a teammate, though he seemed unwilling to harm him. When the teammate covertly loaded his pistol, Kong noticed and threw him away. Kong then attacked those on the wooden bridge, causing it and the team to fall into the valley. Meanwhile, Anne, hearing cries for help, rushed towards the sound and was startled by a giant Komodo dragon, carefully retreating to hide behind a tree. She thought she was safe until another appeared, and ran and hid in a hollow log, with the dragon in pursuit. Just as she seemed trapped, an unseen force pulled the dragon away. escaping danger, and found herself facing a T-Rex. She fled, with the T-Rex in hot pursuit. Lying still, she avoided detection, and the T-Rex left, but another T-Rex was staring right at her. Anne's scream alerted Kong, who kicked the T-Rex and rescued Anne. The relentless T-Rex was choked by Kong, while another charged at Anne. Kong blocked the attack and flung it away, then carefully retreated with Anne. As the T-Rex attacked again, Kong fended it off with all his might. A third T-Rex joined the fray, leading to a fierce battle among the four titans. Kong accidentally fell down the slope but managed to grab onto a cliff edge. One T-Rex, falling, bit Kong's foot. Unable to hold on, Kong also fell, caught by vines in the cliff. The T-Rex, eyeing Anne, swung towards her, but Kong leapt up, grabbed its tail, and flung it onto another T-Rex's head. Kong finally defeated one T-Rex, but Anne and another T-Rex had already jumped into the water, and quickly got up and ran, with the T-Rex close behind. Kong descended from above, and incautiously moved behind him. Kong and the T-Rex wrestled, with Kong eventually overpowering and tearing apart the T-Rex, vanquishing the last one. Kong, still upset with Anne for defying him, turned to leave, and chased after him, and he reluctantly placed her on his shoulder. Meanwhile, Anne's teammates, recovering in the valley, were terrified by giant worms emerging from a nearby pond. Lumpy fought off an attacking worm but was overwhelmed when a massive insect latched onto him. Jack tried to help but was also swarmed by insects. As more and more insects covered Jack, others attempted to escape the valley but were overwhelmed. Lumpy, now trapped in the mud, had one leg and one arm consumed by the worms. Unable to fight back, he ultimately met his end in the valley. This dramatic turn of events showcases the perilous nature of their expedition, where survival hangs by a thread amid the untamed and mysterious forces of this island. The team's quest to rescue Anne, intertwined with Kong's own story and the dangerous creatures inhabiting the island, creates a narrative filled with suspense and unforeseen challenges. As Jack was besieged by insects, a teammate quickly took out a machine gun and fired at them. Despite their efforts, the giant insects kept coming relentlessly, leaving them with no way out. Just in time, the captain and others arrived. Dealing with the menacing insects, the rescued group decided to leave, but Jack insisted on rescuing Anne, who was with Kong. Finally, Jack found Anne asleep in Kong's hands at the edge of a cliff. He quietly woke Anne but accidentally woke Kong as well. The bats in the cave, startled, attacked Kong, and Jack and Anne took the opportunity to climb down the cliff using vines. However, they were spotted by Kong, who started pulling them up. At that moment, Jack grabbed a bat's wings and managed to escape with it. After a frantic run, they reached a suspension bridge, but Kong was already close behind. Anne and Jack crossed the ocean and saw their teammates ready for action and seemed to understand their plan. Kong charged out, and the team threw hooks at him. The captain threw a bottle of anesthetic, followed by another, and Kong was finally captured. Kong was then transported by these greedy individuals to a studio, where he was displayed to nobility for a high reward. However, Kong became enraged, broke his chains, and escaped the studio. On the streets, he desperately searched for Anne, grabbing a person who looked like her, but realizing it wasn't her, he threw her aside. Angry, Kong lashed out at a passing bus, hearing the commotion, and rushed to the scene. And sat in Kong's hand as the sun rose, communicating silently with him. This peaceful moment was shattered by the roar of fighter jets. Kong, sensing danger, gently placed Anne on a platform and climbed to the top of a tower. Kong faced fierce attacks from the jets and was nearly knocked down by bullets. With agile movements, he dodged the shots and reached the tower's top. The jets attacked again, but Kong, with limited space, couldn't launch a counterattack. After several misses, he finally caught a jet and threw it into another. Wounded from the battle, Kong's strength waned, worried, and climbed to the top of the tower. She gestured to the pilots not to harm Kong. The pilots, astonished by the sight of a young woman protecting a giant gorilla, hesitated. Anne's plea worked. and the fighter jets momentarily ceased their attack on Kong. Kong looked at Anne affectionately, seemingly worried about his inability to protect her due to his impending death. Anne, deeply moved, tenderly stroked Kong's cheek. In this era, Kong's existence was something people couldn't accept, and the profound bond between them was beyond the world's understanding. In the end, as the fighter jets launched their final assault, Kong fell from the tower. The film concludes with Jack, disregarding his own safety, climbing to the top of the tower to find Anne alone. This poignant narrative highlights the tragic yet beautiful connection between Anne and Kong. Despite the passing of time, it's implied that Anne would never forget Kong, the great friend who once protected her. Their story transcends the boundaries of the ordinary, leaving a lasting impact on those who witness it.